All right, are we ready?
Yeah, I wasn't able to
So,
find an electric
hello everyone.
in my transmission.
Good evening. Before I officially call the meeting to order, I know Kim is ready in the BevCam booth. Thank you very much, Kim. And I will just do a quick run through of what's on our agenda so we kind of all have a sense of what we're doing. It's a pretty straightforward meeting tonight. And so we have one citizen speaker. We had two signed up. One was not able to be with us this evening. We have a public hearing posted for 7:45. This is a continuation of a National Grid public hearing. We have some minutes to accept from previous meetings, and then we have routine business. We'll take a break for some committee work, and then we'll come back to wrap up anything that's voted out of committee this evening. So that's what we've got on our agenda this evening. Kim is ready. We're ready. So I will officially call to order this meeting of the Beverly City Council, Tuesday, January 17th, 2023, 7 o'clock p.m. Ms. Kent, will you please call the roll?
Bowen? Here. Crowley?
Here.
Feldman?
Here.
Houseman?
Here.
Rand?
Here.
Rotundo?
Here.
St. Hilaire?
Here.
Sweeney?
Here.
And Flowers.
Here. Thank you, Ms. Kent. Councilor Crowley, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Councilor Crowley. So we will go ahead and just jump right in to our agenda. That brings us to our citizen speakers. And as I said, we have one citizen speaker signed up this evening. For those who may be joining us on BevCam, if you're not as familiar with this spot on our agenda, there's up to 3 citizen speaker spots on any regular city council agenda. You can sign up for one of those spots to address the council about a topic of your choice by emailing or calling the city clerk's office no later than 9:30 the morning of the meeting. And as I've mentioned other times, it's not a back and forth session, so you won't hear the councilors engaging with the speakers, but we are listening. I always remind speakers we are listening, and often this is an important jumping off point for ways that we get to hear from residents and then continue conversations. So I will invite Mr. Levine, if you'd like to come to the podium. If you would begin by just stating your name and address for the record and for your fans on BevCam, and then you have up to 5 minutes to address the council.
Thank you, Madam President. My name is Neil Levine, 36 Thorndike Street here in Beverly. And just to wish you all a happy new year, and good to see the council back in full strength and at their jobs. I come before you tonight to share some perspectives on the state of the city's efforts to make Beverly a more welcoming and responsive community for all that live here. 2.5 years ago, in the wake of the killing of George Floyd, there began a truly historic reckoning with the legacy of racism, not just in Beverly, but across the country. For many, it was a time of deep introspection and consideration about how race, bias, and historic practices work to exclude or other members of our community. For some, there was a new feeling of activism and hope that long-needed change was in the air. For others, the times were uncomfortable and uncertain. For our democracy, I think it was extremely helpful and healthy. This council, along with Mayor Cahill, took a number of important steps to help address areas of concern. The council at the time passed a resolution declaring racism a public health issue. The mayor issued an executive order that identified the link between racism and social determinants of health, which said that race has a role in, quote, shaping access to the resources that create opportunities for health, including public safety, housing, education, and employment, and is a persistent barrier to health equity for all residents of Beverly. The city created a new position of Director for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion to inform the city's efforts, quote, of all city departments, including schools, to enhance existing programs and develop new programs that encourage active engagement in activities that demonstrate the city's commitment to equity, diversity, and inclusion. The DEI director, along with city officials and the Beverly Human Rights Committee, convened a series of community conversations to broaden the dialogue and open space for communication and public discussion of race in our community. The mayor initiated a DEI audit to help ensure, in his word, that we are acting with intent to assess whether and how past institutional practices of racism and unconscious bias have and continue to influence city policies and practices within the city of Beverly, unquote. That audit is now complete, and according to an article in last week's Salem News, city officials are working through its recommendations. Finally, this council made history in appointing the first person of color to serve as city councilor when a vacancy occurred last term. Dominic Copeland brought commitment, energy, and new perspectives in his tenure on the council. 2.5 years later, it's important to ask, where are we now? More specifically, it's important to ask this council, which has been at the center of efforts to lead on this issue, what more can be done to make Beverly a welcoming community where there's no place for hate and all residents feel respected and welcome? Here are some ideas. The council can assist the mayor's effort to fill the still vacant DEI director position by using your networks to identify potential candidates. The recent move to increase the salary of the position is a great way to attract a talented and competitive candidate pool. The city could consider an interim appointment while the search for a permanent replacement continues. Second, the council could hold a public hearing on the status of recommendations of the DEI audit, as much of this work is occurring behind the scenes and under the radar. A public hearing not only promotes accountability, it promotes public awareness and confidence that our officials are following through on their intentions. 3, the council can work with the mayor to identify candidates to serve on the Beverly Human Rights Committee to fill existing vacancy and amplify its work through your advocacy and support for its activities. Above all, in all your work, it is time to apply a DEI lens and bring deeper consideration of the effect of race on public policy. It affects who gets heard, whose interests are addressed, and what policy flows from your deliberations on education, housing, health, employment, zoning, development, climate change, public safety, and justice, to name a few. Why is this important 2.5 years later after the death of George Floyd? Because there's more work to do. Hate crimes continue to occur on the North Shore, causing both grievous pain and fear in our community. Our peace-building infrastructure is not as strong as it needs to be. We need to fill the DEI director position, fortify the membership of the Human Rights Committee, and amplify its work and message. This council needs to exercise its oversight role to hold the city accountable for its bold commitments to improve performance of city officers in regard to DEI issues. We need to address continuing shortcomings in our institutions that fall short of delivering for all of our citizens. And the city council needs to raise its voice, energize its efforts, and robustly oversee the city's DEI work. One of the best things that we do as a community, and many of you participate, is the annual reading of the Frederick Douglass speech from 1852, is "What to a slave is the Declaration of Independence," or the 4th of July, I'm sorry. To paraphrase a line from that speech, it is time for the feeling of the city to be quickened and the conscience of the council to be roused to do your most important work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Levine. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your time this evening. And as I said, even though this is not a time for back and forth conversation, I really value your input, as we do all of the citizen speakers who come and speak with us. I can just say for members of the public and for the council, jumping off on one of the questions that was raised about what can we do next, I am working on scheduling, and Ms. Kent is with the mayor's office, a time for the consultants who worked on our DI audit. They're being brought here in person in the next coming months, and so we'll be able to have a meeting with them, both to hear more about the work that they did, but also updates on what's being done at this point. So stay tuned on a date for that. As you know, they reside in California, but they'll be here in person with us. So as I mentioned, our other citizen speaker, Mr. Gates, is not able to be here. Mr. Gates, we're sorry to miss you, especially because I understand you did tell Ms. Ken it would have been the most enthralling 5 minutes of our meeting, so we'll hope to have that 5 minutes another time when you can be here with us. And thanks for letting us know that you could not be here. With that, we'll continue on our agenda, and we'll go to acceptance of minutes of previous meetings. I do want to take a moment also and just recognize that our city solicitor, Stephanie Williams, is here with us this evening. Thank you, Ms. Williams. And Dylan Benson from the solicitor's office is also here with us. Thank you for being here. So we have 4 sets of minutes to approve this evening. One of them, the regular city council meeting from January 3rd, I want to make a note that there was a typo on that agenda that said it was a Monday. It is a Tuesday. That's been corrected already. So when we accept that set, it's with that correction made. So I would entertain a motion then to accept the minutes from our special city council meeting June 27th, 2022, special city council meeting October 24th, 2022, regular city council meeting January 3rd with the correction of the day, and our minutes from our public services committee meeting of January 9th. I would entertain a motion to accept those minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 9-0. And thank you to Ms. Dixon and Ms. Kent for already having caught and corrected that typo. Ms. Kent, let's go to communications from His Honor the Mayor, please.
Order number 11, Dear Honorable City Council, I am pleased to inform you that the City of Beverly has been awarded a $500,000 Green Communication Decarbonization Grant from the Mass Department of Energy Resources. Governor Charlie Baker announced the Green Communities Grant Award on January 4th, 2023. These grant funds will be used to replace the main library HVAC system with the geothermal heat pump system to eliminate the on-site consumption of fossil fuels and to improve building performance. This grant requires a 25% match of funding. This match requirement has been met through the commitment of $2 million in free cash approved by the City Council on December 20th, 2022. The Green Community Grant provides funding opportunities to reduce municipal energy use and costs by way of clean energy projects in municipal buildings, facilities, and schools. Guidance, technical assistance, and local support is provided by regional coordinators. In 2023, 50 Massachusetts communities were awarded grants to fund energy efficiency and clean energy projects. Decarbonization grants are larger awards funding transformative projects that significantly reduce reliance on fossil fuels. Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A requires both City Council and Mayor approval before any grant, earmark, donation, or gift to the City Council could be extended for their prescribed purpose. I therefore request the City Council approve this grant by acting on this matter at the Tuesday, January 17th meeting. Thank you. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Thank you. Please refer that to the Committee on Finance and Property.
Order number 12. Dear Honorable City Council, I am pleased to inform you that the City of Beverly has been awarded a Student Awareness of Fire Education SAFE $5,481 grant and a Senior SAFE grant for $2,477 from the Executive Office of Public Safety and Security, Department of Fire Services. Total grant awarded is $7,958 for public fire and life safety initiatives in our community. This important grant funding will be used by the Beverly Fire Department to teach fire and life safety to children in schools. The program teaches students to recognize the dangers of fire and the fire hazards of tobacco products through 23 key fire safety behaviors taught in developmentally appropriate ways. In addition, grant funding will be used for the Senior Safe program, which aims to reduce older adult fire deaths through fire and life safety education. Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A requires both City Council and Mayor approval before any grant, earmark, donation, or grant gift to the city can be expended for their prescribed purpose. I therefore request the City Council approve this grant by acting on this matter at your upcoming meeting. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Thank you. Please refer that to the Committee on Finance and Property as well.
Order number 13, Dear Honorable City Council, I am hereby reappoint, subject to your review and recommendation, Mr. Sean Leach of 63 Kernwood Ave, Beverly, to serve as mayoral appointee to the Clean Energy Advisory Committee. His term is to be effective from January 31st, 2023 until January 31st, 2026. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Thank you. Please refer that to the Committee on Public Services. Let's go to communications from other city officers and boards, please. Ms. Kent.
Order number 14 from Councilor Rotundo, a proposal to name the Harbor Master Building in honor of the late Harbor Master Daniel McPherson.
Thank you, Councilor Rotundo. Is there anything that you'd like to say about this order?
I don't at this moment.
Thank you, Councilor. Let's refer that to the Subcommittee on Legal Affairs.
Order number 15 from the City Clerk, approval for the 2023 municipal election calendar.
I would entertain a motion to approve this proposed municipal election calendar.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Councilor Bowen.
I just had a question. If The clerk wanted to comment on how this past year went and whether this schedule with early voting and all of that feels manageable with the staffing in place and the work that was done to make sure that we could have tabulators and clerks at all of the elections.
It went well. Yeah, we had enough people, and yeah, it went pretty smooth. And this year we'll have one less week, so I feel we're ready for it.
Thank you, Ms. Kent. Thank you, Counselor Bowen. All those in favor of the municipal calendar?
Aye.
Just- Thank you. Motion carries 9-0.
Order number 16 from the city clerk, an application for a new lodging license for 278 Rantoul Street LLC located at 278 Rantoul Street, and this is for a new ownership.
Thank you. Please refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs.
Order number 17, application for a renewal of a lodging license for Turner Properties at Cabot Lodge, 9193 Cabot Street.
Please refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs as well.
Order number 18 from Councilor Rotundo, a proposed amendment to ordinance 270-33D prohibiting entrance to Kernwood Heights from Bridge Street, September 1st through June 30th, 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m., Monday through Friday.
Counselor Rotundo, anything you'd like to say on this one before we refer it out?
Not at this moment.
Thank you, Counselor. Let's refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs as well.
Order 279B from Councilor Houseman, Order 279, proposed amendments to the zoning ordinance.
And Counselor Houseman, this will be attached to the other order, is that correct?
Yes.
Anything else you'd like to tell us about it before we refer it?
Not at this time.
Thank you. Refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs, please, Ms. Kent.
Order number 19 from President Flowers, request for a city council reappointment for Frederick Hops, 15 Walcott Road, to serve on the Clean Energy Advisory Committee.
Oh, anything I'd like to tell you about it? Not at this time. Please refer that to the Committee on Public Services.
Order number 20 from President Flowers, request for a city council reappointment for Thomas Keeley of 27 Brackenberry Lane to serve on the Clean Energy Advisory Committee.
Thank you. Please refer that to the Committee on Public Services.
Order number 21 from the city clerk, a request to change the November 13, 2023 city council meeting to October 30th, 2023 due to the observation of Veterans Day.
Thank you, Ms. Kent. So this is a change to the calendar as we had expected it, because the City Hall observation of Veterans Day is on a Monday, not on a Friday, which we'd anticipated when we initially set the calendar. So in an effort to avoid 2 weeks with back-to-back regular meetings, which you may recall we had due to a holiday earlier this year, some of the feedback that we heard was that that was difficult for other departments to have turnaround time to get their work done in an efficient way. So Ms. Kent has taken a look and tried to space these out. October 30th, a fifth Monday. So although it does sound like there's 3 October and 1 November meetings, it would space them out more regularly. So if you're wondering why we came up with that proposed date. So I'd entertain a motion to approve this change to the date.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 9-0. Let's go to communications, applications, and petitions, please.
Order number 22, Department of Environmental Protection, issuance of Chapter 91 Waterways License Number 15576.
I would entertain a motion to receive that and place it on file.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 9-0.
Order number 23, a notice of public involvement plan meeting Phase 3 remedial action plan for 150 Sawyer Road.
Thank you. I would entertain a motion to receive that and place it on file.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you.
Order number 24, from Glofsky, Council at Law, request for a short term on street parking at 480 Rantoul Street.
Thank you. I would entertain a motion, councilors, to refer this to the Parking and Traffic Commission for review.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 9-0, so we'll refer that for review and stay tuned for their feedback and report. So before we get to our posted 7:45 hearing, we will have time for some committee work. So councilors, I would entertain a motion to take a break for committee work at this point.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 9-0. So we will break for committee work. We'll have legal affairs stay here on BevCam. We will have public services in the committee room. Finance and property will be on the bench. We do have that posted 7:45 hearing, so just a reminder to all of us to watch the clock. All right, thank you. Okay, we'll call to order this meeting of the Legal Affairs Committee. And I'm going to start with order number 2, which is the reappointment of Stephanie Williams to serve as the city solicitor. Are there questions from the committee?
None from me.
Okay, is there a motion?
Motion to approve the appointment of Stephanie Williams.
Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Solicitor Williams, if you would like the opportunity to speak about your reappointment, then I would love to hear from you.
All I have to say is thank you, and I'm really looking forward to continuing to serve the city. So thanks very much. I really enjoyed working with all of you.
Likewise, thank you for being here. Okay, order number 6, and this is an order from the city clerk for the renewal application for a lodging house license for a Garden City residence at 490 Rantoul Street. And Councilor Rotundo, I believe this is the one that you were
I did, and so
concerned about.
I think we held that to February, well, we gave the license to February 21st.
Yep,
So
that's
I think
right.
we were holding that. I did have the opportunity to meet with the owner of the property after that meeting, so it was a very productive meeting, but obviously we held it to the 21st with
Okay.
the temporary license.
Okay, so we're holding still. Okay. Motion to hold order number 6.
Second?
Or, yeah, first I need the motion, sorry.
Sorry, it's my fault. Motion to hold Order 6, the 490 Garden Street apartment temporary license to
Thank
the
you.
February 21st.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. And thank you for reminding me that we're taking that up actually on my birthday.
There you go, that's the reason why.
I'll tell you now, and then everyone can forget. Okay. All right, order number 7. This is a renewal application for a lodging house license for Grigor Kirjazi for 32 Broadway. And I believe, Andrew, I'm sorry, I don't remember your last name. Andrew is here with us. What is it? Okay, thank you. And I wanted to just first make a comment. We had held this the last meeting because I had some questions about it, and I was able to talk to
Mr. Reale from the Health Department today and just sort of ask him about his process and what, you know, where he is in follow-up for some of the items that we saw that needed to be checked again. And it was good to learn from Mr. Reale that he basically has an automatic follow-up 30 days from when the, you know, kind of comments and observations were first made. So, you know, in my mind, I feel comfortable moving forward with this application because I'm well aware now that all of the things that needed to be followed up on are being worked on now per Mr. Reale's report. And, yeah, unless are there questions from committee members?
I do have one
Sure, go
process
ahead.
question, Madam Chair.
Yes.
With regards to approval, understanding that Mr. Reale is going to follow up, if we were to approve the application, do we need to make it conditional on his follow-up? Or is that assumed that as part of the approval, you know, the health inspector will follow up as issued in his initial report? I don't know if Solicitor Williams, if that's a question for you.
So I mean, my understanding is that we could make any of these approvals conditional. With the conversation I had with Mr. Reale today, helped for me to understand the health department's process in these matters, where they will automatically give a 30-day time period for, you know, the lodging house to act on any of the issues. And then after 30 days, the health department comes back, checks in, and that can go on indefinitely depending on how quickly the issue resolves.
Okay, so to be a little more concise, and I think this is what you were saying here, Madam Chair, is that our approval does not inhibit that process.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Just want to confirm that.
Yes, please, Solicitor Williams.
One thing, and I'm not sure what remains outstanding, but I would suggest that the approval be conditioned on compliance specifically with whatever whatever the Board of Health is directing be rectified. It's a lot easier to condition it that way than just grant it,
Yeah.
conditioned on it getting re-inspected. So, you know, if there are issues, it's great if Mr. Reale is going out there in 30 days, but I'm not sure. I would say you can have a license for 11 months, the next 11 months, and, you know, just assume that they're going to get fixed.
Right. So it's been really interesting. This has kind of reopened up my whole, you know, the whole problem of,
Right.
I think we could probably adopt and figure out a slightly better process, in particular for lodging house
Right.
licenses. And we've all talked about this a number of
Yeah.
times. Because it seems like that if that process were started earlier than January 1, then by the time we got to this
Yeah.
renewal period, then we'd be looking at this sort of series of reports
Yeah.
where,
Well, it
Lodging
starts in
house.
September, believe it
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah.
And the report, so we could even move that up, you know,
Right.
and the
So
reports, I
maybe in
think,
the
are
spring.
due by the middle of November, and they're supposed to be complete into the city council by the beginning of December. So, you know, it's up to you. You have the authority one way or the other, but I don't think you should feel at all concerned about conditioning it on approval or compliance with whatever issues still need to be rectified by the health department with a report from Mr. Reale in whatever, 35 days, if he's going out there in 30 days.
right?
And then if you know, it's not a satisfactory report, you have the ability to do something.
Yep. Yeah. And I like the wording of compliance.
Right.
I think that's good.
So can I motion to accept this license on condition of compliance with the Board of Health, Building Inspector, and Fire Department, that all are in compliance for this permit to be granted?
Yes, and I have a question though about timing. Does that sort of assume a time frame, or we should
I mean, I
apply
think
one?
that to really, because all of them are conditioned
Right.
inherently, implicitly, on compliance with all of those things. I mean, again, you're the ones who are making the decision, but I think there should be some kind of timeline, you know, by
30 days.
whatever. I don't know when you talked to Mr. Reale, but.
Today, so.
When
yeah,
was it?
This
So,
afternoon.
you know, whenever the next meeting is after the 30 days passes.
Okay.
And get a report from him on that, on what the status is. And if the report is favorable, great.
Okay.
And if it's not, then you can reevaluate it.
I amend my motion then?
Yes, please.
I amend my motion to grant this license on compliance with the Board of Health by February 21st, as well as the building department, as well as the fire department's reports.
Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. So, Andrew, did you have any questions for us? Is that, okay. And I had a great conversation with Mr. Reale today, and he said you've been putting a lot of, you've been making a lot of upgrades to 32 Broadway, and he can see that, you know, you're kind of tightening up the house there in general, and then it looks good, so. So we'll get a report back from him, and then also on my birthday, we will talk about this order again and move the license forward, depending on the issues that Mr. Reale or any other city department have found and that you've fixed, basically. Okay, thank you. It's nice to see you again. Have a great night. Okay, let's take up, where were we? So now we are order number 14, and this is from Councilor Rotundo. And this is the order discussing the naming of the Harbor Master Building. Councilor Rotundo, would you like to
Yes,
say a
thank
few
you.
words on that?
So obviously, I had presented this last March. When it was brought to my attention, we had no real process. I worked with Councilor Feldman in the solicitor's office, and they were very, they basically walked me through the whole process. We looked at other towns and cities of what they had for a naming process. I ended up reissuing this after the ordinance was created, the process was created, voted on by the council at the end of December. I still feel strongly that there should be consideration of the Harbor Master Building to be named in his honor. Obviously, there's a few letters of support for that. It is a new process, and I did work closely with Solicitor Williams to make sure that we were doing it properly, because sort of we're setting a precedent for other possible assets in the future. So I want to make sure we're doing it properly right now.
Thank you. Thank you for thinking of this and just for kind of highlighting Dan McPherson's service. Counselor Sweeney, do you have any questions?
I do not. I'll just say quickly, thanks to Councilor Rotundo. As evidenced by the letters that we got in our packet, it was clear that Dan had an impact on a handful of careers in Beverly and beyond. So it's certainly a fitting honor, and I appreciate you taking the time to put this together, Counselor.
Thank you. Solicitor Williams.
So the ordinance requires that, I might be jumping the gun here, but that the city council hold a public hearing.
Okay.
And provide for a 30-day public comment period. I don't know if I wanted to see the language. I underlined it here. So
Okay.
you'll need to make a recommendation about
Okay.
setting a public hearing. And also, there's a 30-day comment period, public comment period prior to the hearing. And the city clerk should publish that, notice of that, of both things in the newspaper. And the public comment period ends as of the close of the public hearing.
Okay, so that has to be the 30th day.
Yeah, so I mean, right, so she'll say she publishes it this Thursday, I think the committee's job at this point is just to suggest a public hearing date.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any thoughts about the public hearing date at this point that maybe you've already discussed with?
I haven't heard from Lisa.
Okay, all right, so I would accept a motion to vote order number 14 out to the full council to set a public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for your guidance on that, Solicitor Williams. Okay, order number 16. That's 14, yeah. Order number 16 is an application for a new lodging house license for 278 Rantoul Street LLC. Yes.
Madam Chair, I'd like to hold this one, but I would like to grant a temporary license to keep them in compliance till February 21st. I also would like to request, Ms. Dixon, if you could invite Mr. Orlando to the next meeting.
He was invited tonight. I thought he was going to.
Yeah, I did speak with the fire department. They do have some concerns, as well as the Board of Health. We saw the report. So I would like to,
Sorry, one moment. I'm going to call
course.
to order committee of the whole. Thank you.
so I did speak to Mr. Orlando yesterday to kind of get an update on him. He's still working through it. But in the fact that to keep it in compliance temporarily, so we're not having anyone homeless, I request that this license be granted on a temporary basis till February 21st.
Okay, is that a motion?
That is a motion, and my apologies.
That's okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, that's 16. Order number 17, and this is also a lodging house license request for Turner Properties, Cabot Lodge, 91 to 93 Cabot Street.
I don't have any issues with this. I did look at this one, and I'm familiar with the owners of this lodging house as well. I'm okay with it from my end. The few house cleaning things, but nothing major. I did talk to Mr. Reale about several of the lodging houses, so I'm okay with granting a full license.
Okay, Counselor Sweeney, do you have any questions or concerns about this one?
Not in particular, but I see, looks like Solicitor Williams had a comment.
Yes, please.
So, I am looking at the application and some of the things flagged by the health department. And, this is one that you may want, it's not as, perhaps the issues aren't as significant as maybe some of the other ones. But, this is one that you may want to have a specific date on for a report back. One of them is the noted 50 degrees with infrared thermostat. Room 2 needs cleaning. So there's mildew. They're not significant things that need to be corrected, but I think it's a way of ensuring that the occupants, that the owner, and I'm not saying the owner won't be responsive, but I just want to flag that.
So I'll motion.
Okay.
So can I motion to grant a temporary, or grant a license with condition that it comes in compliance with the Board of Health report by February 21st?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay. Order number 18. And this is, this is a proposed amendment to ordinance 270-33D prohibiting entrance to Kernwood Heights from Bridge Street, September 1st through June 30th, 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m., Monday through Friday. And this is also from you, Councilor Rotundo. Would you like to just talk a little bit about the work you've done in
Yes.
the background for this?
So this was in response to the neighbors' concerns with the safety of the children crossing at the Woodland and Kernwood Heights intersection in the morning. A lot of congestion with the additional commuting traffic. I spoke with the mayor, the traffic sergeant, the chief, Commissioner Collins. We had a meeting to at least do a 30-day emergency order, which is allowable under the ordinance for the police department, or the police chief, rather. A temporary or do not enter sign was put up. It was enforced by the police for 3 weeks. The feedback that I received from the neighborhood was, especially from the parents walking their kids, how much safer it was. I observed it 3 times on 3 different occasions where there actually was only 1 crossing guard, which clearly was, the traffic was much better. I know I've been working with Ms. Oldmixon in regards to creating the ordinance. Question was asked, if a car takes a left on Kernwood Heights from Carver Street, should we address that? And the reality of that is those are probably parents trying to leapfrog a couple of cars. The idea is not so much to penalize the parents who are trying to get to the school. It really is to cut down the congestion of the traffic that has created an additional 200 cars. I have asked the traffic sergeant if he's received any negative feedback from Harris Street, because there would be a cut-through there, as well as Livingstone Ave. There hasn't been that he's aware of. Maybe one person made a comment because I think there was, he had a verbal warning that, he was doing something wrong. It really is, I think, a benefit to the neighborhood right now. It really is in direct response to the requests of the neighbors. The goal is to really keep it in place while the bridge is closed, and once the bridge is open, it's the hopes that eventually maybe rescinding this do not enter sign. So not similar to what right now is on Putnam Street up at North Beverly School, but it really is in direct response to the additional traffic from the bridge. Once the bridge is open, then that could be reconsidered to be rescinded. So that's sort of where it's at right now.
Okay, thank you. Counselor Sweeney, any questions?
No questions.
Okay, and my main concern was just that the traffic sergeant was fully involved with this, and it sounds like
Yes.
they were, so thank you. Is there a motion?
Motion to accept order number 18.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, and that's it. That's all we have on our agenda for this evening. We'll be holding 279B. We'll take that up when we take up 279 and 279A. Okay, does that sound about right? This is a hold. Okay. There you go. Okay, motion to adjourn committee of the whole, please.
So moved.
Second?
Those in favor? Aye. And motion to adjourn legal affairs committee.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor? Aye. We're adjourned. Thank you.
don't have finance, though.
He has it in his hand, I think. I'll call the city council back to order, back from committee breaks. Thank you very much. And I will call us to order to open our posted public hearing, posted for 7:45. This is a continuation of the public hearing on Order 287. This is National Grid's petition to install approximately 8,050 feet of 12-inch 60 PSIG plastic gas main on Hale Street. Ms. Kent, do you have that order?
I do.
And I will take a moment also to mention, if there are members of the public who are here tonight who are interested in speaking on this public hearing, there is a sign-up sheet on the desk in front of Ms. Kent, sort of between Ms. Kent and Councilor Sweeney, and you can come up and sign up at any point. Would you read the order, Ms. Kent? Thank you.
Legal notice, number 287, City of Beverly ordered that the City Council of the City of Beverly hold a public hearing on Monday, December 5th, 2022 at 8:20 PM and tonight at 7:45 PM. Third floor, council chambers, live stream and BevCam relative to the petition from National Grid for a petition to install plastic gas main on Hale Street extending from the existing stub near Cabot Street to be the regular station at Boyle Street. This was in the newspaper back on November 25th.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kent. So I see that we have Diana Cuddy, our National Grid gas rep, is here with us. And Ms. Cuddy, I know you were asked at our last, or two iterations ago of this hearing, if you could come prepared with some information to share this evening. So I'd like to begin with anything that you might like to offer the council, inform the council about, and then councilors, I'll open it up for questions.
Yeah, so I'm Diana Cuddy from National Grid, 170 Data Drive, Waltham, Mass. We are the only, there's a couple of updates on this. We have an underground electric project that is also going to occur on Hale Street and is started already. We are going to come in after that so that there's less disruption to the street overall, and then our gas main will extend. The electric part will end on Lathrop Street and from Cabot to Lathrop, and then the gas project goes from Cabot to Boyle Street. So the electric project, they've already worked out the details in the permit on street restoration, and then when we get the permit for the gas part, we'll work on that. In addition to that, we're also compiling a map of all the plastic gas main that's in the city right now, and it'll typically have the years it was installed, so there'll be a nice base map for that. Beyond the plastic, the way the existing maps are for the older piping, we can't share that with the public. It has critical energy infrastructure information, so you know, I don't know one-on-one if we could do it, but once we present it to the city, it becomes public record, and we can't do that. But the plastic, since it's newer, we're able to separate that, so we'll be able to pull that together, I'm hoping, in the next week or so.
Thank you very much, Ms. Cuddy. Councilors, what questions or comments do you have for Ms. Cuddy? Councilor Houseman.
Yeah, I can just provide the council an update to sort of supplement what Ms. Cuddy said, that continuing to work with Sean Ciccarelli in the engineering department, and actually 3 different people at National Grid, myself and Sean, to put together a data set map based upon information that Ms. Cuddy is providing, which is intended to provide sort of both a spreadsheet and a map set of database that'll allow us to assess whether we're falling behind or keeping even or theoretically moving ahead on street maintenance and repair in light of all the work that National Grid Gas is doing as they install their lines. The information's been received by, most of the information we need has been received by National Grid, and Sean is doing some site visit work on the information that's been provided, and is also going to have the city's GIS engineer put together that map. So the work is in progress, and I think we're making good progress, just not quite ready yet. I do anticipate it's going to be at least 3 weeks probably before that is done.
Thank you, Councilor Houseman. Counselor Sweeney, and then we'll go to Counselor St. Hilaire, please.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you for taking the time to be with us.
My pleasure.
One quick question. I know we had discussed this a few months ago when you had come before the council originally, but could you remind me the general estimated timeline of how long it will take for the entirety of this work to be completed?
This one, I believe, was 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay.
Because it's 8,050 linear feet.
And then to follow up on that, I would presume that the work will be done incrementally so that the entirety of this route is not under construction, so to say, for
Exactly.
that 6 to 8 week period.
Right, exactly. They'll excavate a certain area, then they'll lay the piece of plastic pipe that they've cut, and then they fuse them together, then they'll dig and excavate another area, and then when they're all done, then they'll energize the system from the ends.
Okay. And do you know typically how large the area that they work in at a time is?
Yeah, usually it's just about 3 feet wide at most. It's like a bucket, bucket width and a little extra on the side,
Okay.
usually about 3 feet.
Okay. Thank you. That's all my questions, Madam President.
Thank you very much, Counselor. Counselor St. Hilaire.
Yeah, just to follow up on Counselor Sweeney's points, do we know when this is anticipated to start?
So that electric project I mentioned is earmarked to finish up in this calendar year, and so we would start this one next calendar year.
Okay, 2024. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Rotundo.
This gas line that's putting in, is it similar to the one that was put on Cabot Street over the last, I don't know, how, summer, or actually since March of the beginning of the year? There was a lot of delays of that, so I guess the question is it similar to that project?
There are some similarities. This will be a seamless, once we start, we will continue until it's completed. The reason for the main installation is a little different. This is more of a reliability-based category for why we're doing this. It will feed the reg station and Cabot Street, so it enforces the whole system in general. For one reason is for safety, and secondly, for growth. Although the growth isn't projected to be as high as initially intended, it is still, though, a reliability project. Whereas Cabot Street, I believe, was integrity and reliability. It eliminated some leak-prone pipe, and then also added the reliability factor for providing better gas service.
Counselor.
So my understanding on Cabot was a capacity level. It was to increase capacity.
That's
So this
reliability.
one on Hale Street is not for capacity, it's really for reliability, is what you're saying?
Those two are sort of the same. Integrity is where we run into like a leak-prone pipe. We want to eliminate that, make the system have better integrity. But this will be a reliability and capacity related. I can actually read you what the engineer wrote. It's technically was for, part of it was for anticipated growth, which isn't as much as it's gone down a little bit. Is technically a reinforcement for forecasted growth, but because it's a new main and improves the system integration in the area, there is a general improvement in system reliability regardless of growth.
I'm good.
Okay, thank you. That was very suspenseful, Counselor Rotundo.
Yeah, that was debating.
Counselor Bowen.
Thank you. So my question was just in terms of the impact on neighbors and then on the city's plans for paving. So it sounds like over those months, the traffic management plan would not necessarily be to close the whole street. It would be some traffic still flowing.
Exactly, right, because they work in little segments. They'll close off a small section of the street and, the traffic, they'll have police details to reroute the traffic or just maybe alert them if we're working in the parking lane or something like that, so then the travel lane will remain open. And what was the first part of your question?
That was
the
traffic
butters.
management, but I did have a second question just around how it impacts the city's paving plan.
So my understanding is this is being done ahead of the city paving for that section of Hale Street. That was another reason we're bringing this project forward and funding it versus when we were initially planning on doing it. And the other thing I did want to mention that prior to the construction starting, an abutter notice goes to every resident along the route, and it explains the hours of operation. And then it's also, as it gets closer to like impacting directly in front of somebody's residence, they usually hang a flyer on the doorknob to say, you know, if you have a doctor's appointment tomorrow, you won't be able to get in now your driveway, so you want to probably park on the street between 8 to 2 or something like that. So they are good with communication for that reason. And usually in the original abutter notice, it's mailed to the residents. There's a phone number and the supervisor's name, so they can contact them with like granular questions about, you know, the schedule and the job.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Rand.
Thank you. I guess first, just a request, and when you do send the abutters notices out, would you also be able to please send that same notice to the city clerk so that we can all see what our constituents are receiving?
Yes, typically they definitely do that. I don't exactly know what department it goes to, but I'll confirm that will go to the city clerk.
That'd be great, thank you. And then, I guess, I just want to make sure I understand, so this is a brand-new main. What exists there now for gas service?
I think I have that up. So this is a new 12-inch one, and what's there now is, I feel like it's small. Oh, it's an existing 8-inch is there now from Atlantic. The sections are in 5 pieces, so let me, I think the whole length of it is an 8-inch, and then this would reinforce that by having an additional 12-inch one. Yep, 8-inch. Yep, it looks like the whole length of it's an 8-inch that was installed in 2012.
Okay, and then follow-up question, please. So, is the 8-inch being totally removed and replaced by the 12-inch, or they'll be together?
Together.
Now, and they'll both be functioning?
Yes.
Okay. And another question about just the use of gas in general. There are communities that are currently saying you can no longer even install new gas hookups. We haven't done that as a community or even discussed it, but I guess I just, when I hear that there was sort of the initial reason for this project was anticipated growth, and then to hear that that same growth isn't even there, but this project is still going forward, it just sort of makes me question the need for an increase in demand when it does seem like other communities are starting to deny even the possibility of using gas and installing new gas mains.
And I understand that. That's why I actually asked the engineer about that. Because the forecast did drop, it's still important to have the reliability and the, it's also a safety feature that if you've got 2 lines with the reg station, if there's any kind of issue with something going down, you have a backup. So that's the other piece of it. So that's why it would move forward even without the growth forecast.
Okay, and then I have one last question is mostly this route kind of follows the coastline, and I'm wondering how, how reliable the plastic mains are and sort of if you can talk about their proximity to the ocean.
Yes, so actually we have just developed a flyer on some fun facts about the plastic. They last for up to, I think it's like 70 to 90 years. They're more reliable because it's a seamless piece. They handle shifts in soil better in case there's some kind of adjustment underneath versus like the rigid cast iron that's connected at a joint, and then they don't have the flexibility that the plastic does. I'll definitely send that to Lisa to distribute because it is kind of interesting. So I'll do that. And I did also want to mention the so National Grid's doing a lot of research. They've made a commitment, to their fossil fuel future. And they're looking, right now we're looking into like geothermal processes, introducing hydrogen into the gas line system to help with that aspect of it. And we're currently building a tiny house that's all hydrogen that's available for people to come if the city council would like to. It's not ready yet, but it's pretty interesting and just the future of what our world will look like or options. So yeah, they are. We still probably will need the infrastructure though, no matter what way we go.
Okay, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Councillor Rand. Councillor Houseman.
Yeah, just a quick follow-up question to Councillor Sweeney's. Your answer to Councillor Sweeney, you said 3 feet wide. Is there a standardized depth as well?
Not really. The depth isn't as standard as the width. I was just going to say too, I'm glad you asked that because I'm sure that you've driven down the street and seen like a little trench repair. So that's typically what is maybe 3 to 4 feet wide, the more I thought about it. But the depth, it's not standard. And that's one of the nice things about the gas is that it doesn't need to be below a frost line or something like that. So we can move to accommodate other infrastructure, water lines, sewer lines, electric and stuff like that. So it has the flexibility of, going different depths.
Is there a minimum amount below the surface that is required?
I think it's 18 inches minimum.
Minimum of 18 inches.
I can check on that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you.
Councillors, other questions or comments? Just a comment, if I may, Ms. Cuddy, I wanted to share, you heard a few questions start to get asked about notifying abutters. I'm not sure how familiar you are or not with our process with the KV 115 replacement, but one of the obstacles that our residents ran into that I think this council is very aware of was poor communication to residents and abutters. And so I think when you started to hear some questions, my comment to you would be, I know you said you try to communicate very thoroughly. I would say the most thorough communication that can happen to and for our residents, and then to Ms. Kent to come to the council would really be greatly appreciated. I think especially because some of these residents are the same residents
Exactly.
who had that negative experience. So I think extra communication, most thorough communication is going to be valuable here.
Right, and if anything comes to the council, feel free to share my phone number, my name, because I can, get the supervisor's the best person to talk to because the mains are installed by a contracted company, so they're the ones that oversee the job and supervise the work. They know the schedule, but certainly I can put anyone in touch with them in case they didn't get the notice or something like that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's helpful. Thank you. Are there members of the public who are here tonight who would like to speak in this public hearing? Seeing none at this time, and Councillor Houseman, after hearing your assessment of some work that we're still waiting for, some reports, I think it would make the most sense for us to recess this, but into March to give time for that work to be done. And then if at that point members of the public have any further comments on that work or this hearing. So I would entertain a motion to recess this public hearing to March 20th, our March 20th meeting at 8 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. That motion carries 9-0, so we will recess this public hearing to March 30th at 8 p.m. and hope to have the March 20th. Thank you, Ms. Kent. Just heard a little voice whispering next to me, 20. And hope that we'll have the full reporting by that point, and that members of the public as well as councilors will have a chance to ask questions or comment on it. Thank you, Ms. Cuddy, for being here with us and for bringing some further information for us as well. That brings us to reports from committees, Ms. Kent.
Order number 3 from the Committee on Finance and Property, to whom referred the matter regarding a reappointment of Director of Municipal Finance and Treasurer Brian Ailes, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve this reappointment.
Questions or comments? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and the adoption of this reappointment of Mr. Ailes as the Finance Director. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 9-0.
Order number 11, the Committee on Finance and Property, to whom referred the matter regarding a grant for $500,000 from Mass Department of Energy Resources to replace the main library HVAC system, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve this request.
Questions or comments on this one? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That motion carries 9-0, and thank you to our City Grants Director, Catherine Barrett, for her work on that as well.
Order number 12, the Committee on Finance and Property, to whom refer the matter regarding a student awareness of fire education grant of $5,481 and a senior safe grant for $2,477 from the EOPSS, have considered some matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve this request.
Questions or comments on this one? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 9-0. Thank you also to Ms. Barrett and to our fire department for their work there.
Order number 4, the Committee on Public Services, to whom referred the matter regarding reappointment of Ms. Joanne Panuzio and Colleen Michaels to serve on the trustees of the Beverly Public Library, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve these reappointments.
Questions or comments? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and the adoption of these recommended reappointments. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 9-0.
Order number 5, the Committee on Public Services, to whom refer the matter regarding an appointment of Dr. Cheryl Silva to serve on the Beverly Board of Health, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve this appointment.
Questions or comments on this one? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of this recommended appointment. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That motion carries 9-0. Counselor Rand.
And President Flowers, I would like to make a motion to reconsider in hopes that it fails, meaning that then Dr. Silva's appointment would be finalized this evening, if the motion to reconsider fails.
Thank you, Counselor Rand. So, Counselors, if you're newer and you haven't had this happen yet, there's a 24-hour reconsideration hold on orders. Counselor Rand is asking, as someone who voted in the affirmative on the prevailing side, that we reconsider, and that would, if we all do not wish to reconsider, that will mean that the 24-hour hold expires and Dr. Silva's appointment would be able to go forward. There is a Board of Health meeting tomorrow with a number of new members, so I think if we feel that we're ready to go forward, that would allow her to attend. So Counselor Rand has made a motion to reconsider. Is there a second? All those in favor of reconsidering? All those opposed? Thank you. That's 9-0. So the motion to reconsider has failed, which causes the 24-hour hold to expire.
Point of order, I have no idea what the answer is on this. Do motions to reconsider have to be roll call, or can you do it en masse?
En masse.
En masse? Okay, thank you.
But thank you for letting me say a fancy term like that. But yes, thank you for the question, Counselor Houseman. It's a good point of clarification. We can do a vote as we did.
Order number 19, the Committee on Public Services, to whom referred the matter regarding a reappointment of Frederick Hobbs as one of the City Council appointees to serve on the Clean Energy Advisory Committee, have said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve the reappointment.
Questions or comments on this one? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and the adoption of this reappointment. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That motion carries 9-0. And thank you to Mr. Hops for his desire to continue serving. He's certainly been a voice and a leader in our community on clean energy.
Order number 20, the Committee on Public Services, to whom referred the matter regarding a reappointment of Thomas Keeley as one of the City Council appointees to serve on the Clean Energy Advisory Committee, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve this reappointment.
Questions or comments? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and the adoption of this reappointment. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That motion carries 9-0. And thanks also to Mr. Keeley.
Order number 316, the Committee on Public Services, to whom referred the matter regarding an appointment of Jason Roulette to serve on the Beverly Airport Commission, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve this appointment.
Questions or comments? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and the adoption of this appointment. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That motion carries 9-0.
Order number 318, the Committee on Public Services, to whom referred the matter regarding appointments for Chelsea Turner, Amanda Lennon, and Michael Gove to serve on the Beverly Culture Committee, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve these appointments.
Questions or comments? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and the adoption of these appointments. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That motion carries 9-0.
Order number 327, the Committee on Public Services, to whom referred the matter regarding city parks, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend that it is received and placed on file.
Questions or comments? Question comes on the acceptance of this recommendation to receive this and place it on file. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion carries 9-0.
Order number 2, the Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom refer the matter regarding the reappointment of City Solicitor Stephanie Williams, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve this reappointment.
Questions or comments? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and the adoption of this reappointment of Solicitor Williams. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Motion carries 9-0. Thank you, Solicitor.
Order number 6, to the Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom refer the matter regarding renewal application and temporary lodging house license for Garden City Residences, 490 Rantoul Street, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the license be granted an extension of a temporary license to February 21st.
Questions or comments on this one? Counselor Rand or Counselor Rotundo, is there anything you want to just offer by way of update?
I think we were talking about this at the last meeting, and speaking at this one is to continue, we had set the date for the 21st for them to come in compliance, but the temporary license was granted. So we're gonna hold the order till then.
Thank you.
So is it going back to public services, or is it staying, to legal affairs, or is it staying in council?
So I think we just held that, because we had already granted a temporary license that runs for another handful of days.
Right, so you held it in legal affairs?
I think this one's staying in legal affairs.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're extending their temporary license.
Correct.
Yes.
So we held it at our last meeting and just extending it to the 21st.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Order number 7, the Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom referred the matter regarding a renewal application for a lodging house license for Grigor Drozazi to 32 Broadway, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the license be granted as a temporary license, good until February 21st. Extension from last time.
Thank you. So this is the same? Okay. Counselor Rotundo.
Go ahead, go through the whole lodging, and then maybe there'll be a better explanation to it.
Well, they're out of order now. Order number 16, the Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom referred the matter regarding an application for a new lodging license for 278 Rantoul Street LLC, located at 278 Rantoul Street, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommendation is to issue a temporary license till 2/21.
Counselor Rotundo.
Madam President, the reason why our committee, subcommittee decided we want to keep them in compliance and not make anyone homeless, but there are some concerns. We want these to come in compliance. So it is allowing these lodging homes to stay in compliance, but as well as to address the Board of Health, the police, the fire department rather, and building department. So keeps them in compliance, but it's on a temporary basis.
Thank you, Counselor. This is a new one?
Yes.
Solicitor Williams.
So I may not have heard the entire colloquy there, and I apologize. So if Legal Affairs voted to approve the license or give them a temporary license until the 21st in order to come into compliance with all the outstanding issues, I think procedurally that the City Council should vote to accept that recommendation and send it back to Legal Affairs. I don't know if that's what you were planning on doing.
That was our initial gut reaction,
Okay.
and then I think we got a little turned around, so that is
Okay.
appreciated. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you, Solicitor.
Yeah, so that's my thought.
So let's backtrack to this one. Order 6.
Is that the first one? I think so. You need to read it again. Order number 6.
Thank you.
The Committee on Legal Affairs, who refer the matter renewal of an application and temporary lodging house license for Garden City Residences for 490 Rantoul Street, extended to February 21st for a temporary license.
So I would entertain a motion to affirm the recommendation of the Legal Affairs Subcommittee and then to refer this back to Legal Affairs.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Motion carries 9-0, and so we'll refer that back to the Subcommittee on Legal Affairs.
Order number 7, the Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom refer the matter regarding a renewal application for a lodging house license for Grigor Drozazi at 32 Broadway, have considered said matter, recommend that they issue a temporary license good until February 21st.
I would entertain a motion to accept the recommendation of the Legal Affairs Subcommittee and then refer back to Legal Affairs.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 9-0. We'll refer that back to the Subcommittee on Legal Affairs as well.
Order number 16, the Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom refer the matter, an application for a new lodging license for 278 Rantoul Street LLC, located at 278 Rantoul Street, was issued a temporary license to 221.
Thank you. I would entertain a motion also to approve this recommendation of the Legal Affairs Subcommittee and then to refer back to Legal Affairs.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 9-0.
Order number 17, the Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom referred the matter regarding an application for a new lodging license for Turner Properties Cabot Lodge, 91 to 93 Cabot Street, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the application be granted with the condition that it come in compliance with the Board of Health recommendations by February 21st.
So similarly, I would entertain a motion to approve with the recommendations of the Legal Affairs Subcommittee and then to refer back to Legal Affairs.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 9-0.
Order number 14, the Committee on Legal Affairs, to refer the matter regarding a proposal to name the Harbor Master Building in honor of Harbor Master Daniel McPherson. Set a public hearing on March 6th at 8 p.m.
I would entertain a motion to set that public hearing for our March 6th meeting at 8 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Motion carries 9-0.
Order number 18, the Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom referred the matter regarding a proposed amendment to Ordinance 270, 33D, prohibiting entrance to Kernwood Heights from Bridge Street, September 1st through June 30th, 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m., Monday through Friday, have considered said matter, submit the company amended ordinance, and recommend its adoption, and this will be in for 2 more readings till final passage.
Thank you. So we do not vote on this today? Okay. So this will appear on our 2 February agendas. And thank you, Councilor Rotundo, for your work on those 2 previous 2 that we just heard.
And that's it.
Is that
Sorry,
the end?
forgot.
Just looking at you with great
Yeah,
expectation.
I know.
What next, Ms. Kent? Well, thank you very much, everyone. I have a few reminders, and then I'll ask if any of the councilors do as well. We do have a few meetings coming up on some important topics. Councilor Rand, correct me if I'm wrong, but Legal Affairs will be meeting on January 25th to discuss proposed changes to the zoning ordinances.
Yes.
And is that a 7 o'clock or a 6:30?
6:30.
6:30, thank you, Councilor Rand. And also Legal Affairs Subcommittee meeting on January 30th to continue our work with the city charter.
Yes.
And that is at
7.
7, thank you. So those are both open to members of the public, January 25th for zoning, 6:30 p.m. here in council chambers, and January 30th, 7 p.m., talk about the mayor's suggested revisions back to us on the city charter, and that's at 7 p.m. Our next regular city council meeting will be February 6th here in city council chambers at 7 p.m.
This public services.
I was just gonna say, Councilor Feldman, do you have an update on public services?
I do have an update on public services. We also have a subcommittee meeting on January 30th, starting at 6 p.m. Regarding a couple of different matters are on the agenda, the airports, flooding, and we will also possibly be touching base on the Varian Phase 3 item, which is another announcement. On January 24th, there is at Beverly High School an open meeting regarding the Phase 3 of the Varian cleanup, starting at 6 o'clock, open door 6 p.m.?
Changed at 6:30, the doors are open, the meeting's actually at 7.
Okay, so, yes, 6:30, Beverly High School, doors open, presentation at 7. And that is the start of the Phase 3 public comment period, which will be concluding February 14th. And we will be having another Public Services Committee meeting that has not been officially scheduled yet, but the plan is for 6:30 prior to the February 6th meeting to discuss possible public comment from the council.
Thank you very
I
much.
think that's all of our subcommittee. Unless I missed something.
If I could just piggyback on the
Please, Councilor
Varian
Crowley.
meeting, just more or less, the big thing with this one, this is Phase 3, that Varian's going to be presenting potential remedial treatment actions as far as following up with the plan. So they're coming to us with what their recommendations are for treatment of that site. So it's a lot of information to come forward and hopefully get as many people there from the community to join us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, councilors. And just as a reminder for members of the public, that was a lot of dates, but the variant meeting that we're talking about is January 24th at Beverly High School. Doors open at 6:30, meeting at 7. And as Councilor Crowley and Councilor Feldman remind us, members of the public are welcome and indeed encouraged to attend. This is an important step in this process. Any other reminders or updates from councilors? All right, well, with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. That motion carries 9-0. Thank you to Kim and BevCam, and
Like trying to memorize.
thank you very
all
much.
of the
We're adjourned.
Subcommittee meetings.
And remember, next Monday,
My
the party.
my rat.